What's up, all my Ewoks, triples, and droids? It's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl, and today I'm going to be doing an art review slash critique of the Colin Trevorrow'S Duel of the Fates concept art that was leaked. For those of you that are not aware of what the Duel of the Fates is. So, originally Colin Trevorrow was supposed to be the director of Star Wars Episode 9. Instead, he got fired or replaced, and they brought JJ back to fix the dumpster fire shit show that Ryan Johnson left in his wake. And we got what we got. Now, yes, there is a lot of things going around about, oh, well, you know, Disney changed it. This wasn't his version. They edited it without telling him, and they added things in, and they took things out. And there's this huge controversy around, what is the name of the movie? The Rise of Skywalker. See, that's how forgettable it was. Now, I did not go and see the movie in theaters. I was not going to support Disney and Lucasfilm with my money. And when they do stuff that I like, I will support them. But when they say fuck you for 2 years and call me a misogynistic man baby for pointing out just simple inconsistencies and, you know, just simple errors on their part, I don't think that justifies getting name called and, being refer to certain things online. I don't think that's okay, and I'm not going to support a company, which is why when somebody posted the lovely link to it on Twitter, I watched it from the comfort of my own home here in my office, and I live tweeted my reaction. Now, when Colin Trevorrow, he was supposed to be the director for Episode 9, his script got leaked by Robert Meyer Burnett, and he did a live stream where he was reading out the script and what was supposed to be in it, or, you know, what the plot was. Now, a lot of people have asked me why I haven't covered this yet, and to be completely honest, it's because I didn't care for it, and I didn't feel like I needed to talk about it. I believe I jumped on a live stream and talked about it a little bit. I'm pretty sure I did. I think it was on Neurotic's channel. But the thing is, I wasn't impressed. It's the difference between your cat shitting on the floor or shitting in its litter box. It just because one is more convenient than the other, it doesn't change the fact that it's still shit. And that's what the Duel of the Fates is. And, or at least, you know, from what I heard, from what it was read to me during a live stream, I'm not impressed, amused. If you want to go and pull out and do little fan services and put that in the movie and think that just because there's little references from the EU and references from past films, it's not going to fix everything that came before it. Now, I feel like based on what it is, Colin Trevorrow, if he would have started off this trilogy, it would have been a lot more promising. But with what the script was, he was working with what he got and tried to make it as entertaining as possible. I use that term very loosely. I just wasn't impressed, nor did I care for it, so I didn't do any videos on it, which I technically could have. I just didn't want to. But anyways, this is going to be an art critique, so I'm in my Artist Anna outfit, so I feel like I need to put this little persona on when I do art critiques, because people don't understand the difference between constructive criticism and, I guess, just criticism. People don't understand the differences. Now, I'm going to be completely blunt and honest. I do not sugarcoat things. If I sugarcoat things, you will never learn. If 100 people told you something nice and, oh, that's the best drawing or painting in the world, and one person came and said, oh, you know, your perspective is slightly off, maybe you should fix that, you're going to remember that one comment as compared to all the 100 other ones that said, oh, it was so beautiful, it was so perfect. That's, at least in my opinion, that's how I know I learn, and that's how I know everyone that, you know, I've interacted with as artists learn. You're gonna remember that. So again, I don't sugarcoat things at all. I'm going to be doing critiques of this artwork, and I know the artists were working within constraints, so I am going to be a bit more liberal with the things that I criticize, but also there is a narrative behind it. So let's get right into these images. Alright everyone, so I have this concept art pulled up. Now this was from Reddit, and so as you can see, I'm just going to be scrolling through, and so I'm going to burst the bubble to you guys. Usually what concept art originally looks like is more of just stick figures on a post-it note. Like, think about that, and that's usually, especially when you're doing something like storyboarding, is, oh, look, we got the Adventures of the Traveling Stick Salesman. For those of you that are artists, you'll know exactly what that is. For those that are not, I will explain to you in a moment. But concept art is very, very rough, just sketches, just to get your idea out there. When you have more polished designs like this is when usually a company will outsource and hire artists to bring their own concepts to life, which is exactly what this is, although I do not believe that this was outsourced. And so, you get something like this where it's a complete 3D render, and, they built this model up in a 3D, and oh my god, you can even see, I can tell what, so I don't know this artist. They probably used Moto or Maya to do this one, but I can see the shading poly from ZBrush in that. And so what you'll see in especially live action concept art is there's a lot of photo bashing and there's a lot of 3D. Somebody didn't paint this. This is a 3D model. And then they placed them together in Photoshop and they did paint overs. For example, they painted over this. You're going to see that a lot in, okay, so yes, even with this BB-8. This BB-8 is a 3D model that they've done little paint overs to make, especially right there, to make it look, and they did effects. This is actually probably a 3D model as well that they put a little blur filter over. And so that's a lot. You get that a lot, though. There's nothing wrong with bringing 3D and doing photo bashing. That's actually how a lot of live action is done. I'm trying to think of great art books that you can see, usually like Halo, that one Matt Damon movie, Elysium. It's photo bashing. Even with Marvel, it's a lot of photo bashing. And so that's when you take a picture, you bring it into Photoshop, and then you do paint overs, you add some, adjustment layers to it to make it look like a painted image when really it's not. And there are instances where it is just all paint, but see, this is complete photo bash. Somebody found a picture of like a babbling brook and photoshopped that in to their painting, and then added adjustment layers, did some paint over. So this is I think this is either an overlay or a oh my gosh, a darken filter. And so you can see that. This is some things, and guys, I'm going to blow your mind. So when you go into a doctor's office and a doctor can, they look at your symptoms, they see everything, and then they tell you what's wrong with you. Any artist, any professional artist, and yes, I am a professional artist, can look at these photos and know exactly how this artist did it and know exactly what tools they were using. So again, this is just a photo bashed image that they brought a rock in, and this is probably that they brought some girl in. And you can even see how these layers kind of fade into each other, and you can see the straight up line right here. And let me zoom in. You can see the line from where those overlapping layers go over. And then you can see, so this is probably, they found this photo and then they did a 3D render of a mountain or this little station that's up here on the mountain. This obviously, you can even see the outline of these trees and how they had to do a few adjustments. And then these leaves are painted. You can see that. And then obviously these are they found rocks, they cut them out of a photo, and then they photoshopped them in to do to show depth and dimension to it. And so stuff like this. So obviously those are lightsabers that they brought in. They did paint that. They did. When you don't have a character's face, usually what these are all just little hacks that artists will do because you need to be fast. And that's one thing, especially when working in the entertainment industry. When you give out a product, that's when you get paid. So the faster you do the work, the sooner you're going to get paid. And I think a lot of people like to get paid because they like to eat. Again, this person didn't paint Yoda. They found an image of Yoda and then they added some filters over it, and it's same with all of these. This isn't a painted image. This is a very well constructed photo bashing job. All right. Now see, something like this is when, okay, so they went in, they did their little thing of Rey. This one still kind of looks, let me zoom into this one. Okay, so yeah, that one is a painting. And then this, usually what you do when you get effects like this, like you can see right here how you can see the graininess on the ice. they found a filter or they found a texture layer. So that means they went and they found what ice would look like on Google, and they brought it in, they put a mask over it, and they edited it so that way it would fit over this nicely. And then what they did was they brought, or they added the adjustment layer to add the texture to make this look as real as possible. But this is, I think, predominantly just a painting. You can even tell on the ship. So one of the greatest things, and this is a really, you'll know it instantly when it's a painting as compared to a 3D rendering, is because on the painting, things can disappear. Obviously, this is the edge. The perspective is right on the Millennium Falcon, and you can actually see the lines over everything. But the thing about a 3D is you can see every little detail, even when it's far away, as compared to fading into the distance. That's a really big, red sign that you're using a 3D model as compared to digital painting. Now, this one I actually really like. So one of the things about art and one of the things about images is when you're setting up a composition, you want to set it, and you can see like the golden ratio, but you have the rule of thirds, right? So you have this line, you have this line, you have these lines, you have these lines. So this is usually the first place where people want to look. But if you're a good artist, you know what to do. You know how to make it so that way somebody looks where you want them to look. And so the way to do that is with values. So values is a fancy word for black and white and grayscale. That's what artists use. So when you put the highest contrast in values, that is where the person is going to look. And so when you have something right here, this is where the brightest part of your image is, and guess what? It's next to something dark. It's surrounded by this. It's darker right here, and it's brighter right here. Usually, if you really want it to stand out, you'll put your darkest value, like black, right here, and this will make it shine. But because this is a glare from the metal on the ship, it's going to reflect that, and it's going to give that ambiance and brightness. So this is the first place that I look. Some people might actually look at Rey first because she also has that rim light on her, but you see the Millennium Falcon first, you see it coming up, and then I believe the afterthought is to go to Rey. So you look here, you follow this, then you follow this, and it's so that way you can have this movement through the image and it tells a story. So that's another thing with concept art, is that you want to tell a story, because if you are telling a story, people are more likely to remember your artwork. This is telling a story. You're thinking that the Millennium Falcon is breaking out of the ice, but no, wait, no, it's Rey. Rey is the one that's uplifting it from the ice. I think that this piece was very, very well done, and I'm impressed by it. So this is someone that and it's not bad to do this, but everyone knows it. This was a photo that they put a few filters over and brought in some promotional imaging to add that in. So, and yeah, you just do a few blur layers. You can even see the lines from it. So they did they took a picture of BB-8, they put a posterized filter on it in Photoshop, and then they either traced it or they did another filter, and there's thousands of filters out there, or they did one of those fancy line filters, but I think for this they would have had to gone in and added a few things. But yeah, that's basically what this is. Which, it's fine if you have a deadline and you need to put out concept art now. I believe this is supposed to be the end scene when Rey goes and she starts her own Jedi Academy, and all of them are like, oh, it's left to you now. Now, this is a filter. They used a brush for that, which it's fine. It's fine. It's just I'm one of those people that I'm not very impressed when you do a photo and you do photo bashing and you like put a filter on it, as compared to doing an actual digital painting where you use photos to help advance your painting and to make it more believable and look more realistic. That's something that I find more appealing as an artist myself, and that's something that I have more respect for with other artists, is when you actually do a piece and then you just, we do have these great tools, we have, Photoshop layers, and when you bring those in and you help make your piece better, that's okay. But when you start off with a photo that's not, well, if you're working for Disney, then you have the rights to it. But when you start with a photo that's not yours and then you just add some layers, I get it. It's very handy when you're trying to get an idea across the table fast. So this person, I'm pretty sure, had a lot more time than this person had. This person was just like, I need to get these ideas out there right now. I have a deadline, and here you go. So I understand. I'm not trying to, because I know people will say, oh, Anna, you're nitpicking, or this, and this. No. Let's just say if these two were my students and I were to give a grade to both of them, this student would be getting the higher grade. And again, that depends on how much time they had. If they had the same amount of time, let's say they each had 20 hours to do this, and this student brought in this, and this student brought in this, I can tell you right now which one would be getting the A, and I think you guys all know as well. And even this, it's like for a professional artist, I feel like they could have painted her hair better. And so this is the one I was talking about in this image. You see how that's the first place you look. In this, highest value of contrast, but the way that the image is set up, my eye doesn't go to Kylo Ren. It goes to Rey first because they have this rim light. So I don't know I know this is obviously telling a story. They are about to duel. You have these little thrones right here. I don't know what this thingy-majigger is, but, it's trying to tell a story, and I think that if they would, and I understand why having the rim light there, maybe make it not as bright, and instead of having the white light from out here, or this light source that's coming from above, maybe give it blue. And so she has her blue double-bladed lightsaber. Why? And you see her glow right there. Why not add some of the blue up here and right here and make that rim light blue? And then even right here with Kylo Ren. Okay, his lightsaber is red. You only have it in this direct line. That's not how light travels, especially when you have lightsabers. There would be a lot more red over the floor. I think that the reason why the artist decided to do it is because they wanted it to be muted. So muted, it means not vibrant colors. So that's why you have all of you can see that there's color in it. It's supposed to be Marvel, and again, this person brought in some Marvel photos, or photos of Marvel, and then just adjusted them to all of this. They didn't actually paint this in. They might have gone and like done the cracks right here, but they definitely got just a layer, and you can see it. I think that one is a vivid light filter. But it's one of those things that I understand you wanted to make the lightsabers pop more, but I think it would have done your image a lot more justice, and it would be clearer where you want the focus point to be, or the focal point to be, because right now, the way that you have it set up, it should be Kylo Ren. I don't know why he's completely black like this, because it shouldn't be. He's underneath this light, right? So he should be a much lighter gray, and it would make a lot more sense. I might do a live stream where I do paint overs of all of these, if you guys enjoy this video and you want to see more. But, and do more in-depth paint over art critiques. But right now, it doesn't make sense that he would be that dark of a value, especially when there is this overhanging light right there. And from this back, he should have a rim light around him, and also his robes, even though they are a dark value naturally, they shouldn't be this dark underneath that much light. He should have a bunch of little highlights on the top where the light is coming from, even from behind him. His shadow, they got kind of right, but if it's coming from that, it should be, let's see the way that all of this goes, it should be a little bit more towards Rey, and that would actually make a lot more sense narrative-wise if everything is pointing towards her. Because right now, with this huge monolith coming out of the ceiling, and the way it's basically a big arrow to Kylo Ren, which is why I'm like, does the artist want me to look here, or do they want me to look somewhere else? And then you have, it's like, you have these dark values, you have it right here, you have the entire outline of Rey. I think that this person, while they are a very talented artist, they aren't as clear as where they want their focal point to be. And so that's something that comes with time and, with understanding of values and the way lighting works, as well as storytelling composition. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed my little critique / breakdown of some of this concept art. Obviously, I was not able to get to all of it. There's a lot of art there. It might not seem that much, but each image I could spend minimum half an hour talking about. I'm not going to do that because I know people don't like to watch my longer videos. So I will be doing this breakdown in 2 parts, so stay tuned tomorrow for part 2 of this artist breakdown of the concept art for Duel of the Fates. Now, I know I said earlier on in this video I would explain the lore between the adventures of the traveling stick salesman. So what artists usually do is when they're doing big exposition scenes and they have massive landscapes with castles in the distance or epic battles of dragons fighting in the sky, and maybe it shows the earth down below it, or, you know, maybe there's in the foreground some ledges of some monoliths and the dragons are fighting in the sky, or, you know, spaceships that have crash landed on planets. What artists will do to show the scale is they'll draw a little tiny person, because every human, if you look at another human, you, especially in an image, you kind of know the general height of what a human is, and so putting a human next to it shows, you know, the scale of this magnificent thing that the artist is trying to accomplish. And so to make it a little bit more interesting, because it's like, why is there somebody just standing there? They'll give them a stick. And so because so many artists did this, it became kind of a thing. The Adventures of the Traveling Stick Salesman, because the same stick salesman is in all of these different artworks throughout, you know, the entire universe of, you know, concept art and art creation. And so it's kind of a little Easter egg. Everyone within the art community knows what the Adventures of the Traveling Stick Salesman is, and now so do all of you. There's actually an entire website where somebody compiled some of the best concept art with the Adventures of the Traveling Stick Salesman. I will have that, as well as the link to this Reddit page, included in a pinned comment, because I can't put it in the description because YouTube hates that. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. And you know, if you could, it will really help me out, as well as other independent content creators. Share this on social media. YouTube has been making a big change to their algorithm, as well as making it more so that they could bring in corporate businesses and entities onto YouTube and kind of push out the little people like me, like other individual content creators. So giving it a like, leaving a comment, sharing this on social media really helps excuse me, show the traction of the video and show YouTube that people actually care about independent content creators, and not just for me here on my channel, but other people, other content and other content creators as well. So keep that in mind when you're watching videos. And everyone, thank you so much for being here. And until next time, everyone, may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone. What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and I have an Etsy store, so if you've ever wanted to own a print of my artwork, this is the place to go. As you can see, I have a lot of recognizable characters, from horror films to heroes to Star Wars characters. Some of the notable characters I have on here are Darth Vader, which I did a couple live streams painting, so you can own a print of this painting. I also have Luke Skywalker, the binary sunset version, one of my favorite scenes in the original New Hope movie. I have Darth Maul, which Ray Parks himself actually complimented me on Instagram. And then last but certainly not least, Ahsoka Tano. So if you want to own any of these prints, go right on over to my Etsy store. Again, that's The Art of Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. What's up, everyone? I have a P.O. box, so if you want to send me some mail, go ahead and send it to Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short, at P.O. Box number 28171, Santa Ana, California, 927998171. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.